The director that I decided to research for this project is the famous Tim Burton. He was born in a strange suburban neighborhood in Hollywood. This area that Tim grew up in inspired his eccentric style when making movies as he grew older. He worked for Disney after going to school for the arts. He made the short film Frankenweenie in 1984, but it was definitely one of Disney's most unusual short films. Burton experienced a traumatic event as a young boy when his dog passed away. This led to the story of Frankenweenie, since it's about a young boy whose dog passes away and the boy experiments with ways to bring his dog back to life. Since this was seen as scary, it only had a limited release on Disney. After directing some of his early movies such as Pee-wee's Big Adventure in 1985, Beetlejuice in 1988, and Batman in 1989, he directed Edward Scissorhands in 1990, which was a great representation of Tim Burton's style. It is said that this movie is Burton's spiritual autobiography because Tim would see himself as an outsider, just like Edward. This movie describes Burton's feelings when he interacts with the outside world. Edward ruins and hurts everything that he touches with his blades for hands, which symbolizes his feelings of being alienated. Burton has always had a fear of being alienated because being creative can set him apart from the rest of society. Edward Scissorhands and Frankenweenie are considered fish-out-of-water themes that feature gothic horror elements that Burton commonly uses in his films. Burton's next big hit was The Nightmare Before Christmas. This film is shot with a stop-action technique, but yet it still looks graceful. There is an unfinished quality to this movie, a rough edge which represents Burton's style. There are some story and rhythm flaws, but the film was so good that Burton always has great responses from the audience. Another great film of Tim Burton is Sweeney Todd. This dark movie inhabits Gothic landscapes. The mise-en-scene of this film portrays the idea that London is looked upon as a great black pit, because the people are very manipulative. Sweeney Todd switches back and forth between civilization and barbarism, living flesh and dead meat. Todd is a monster and a killer, but he still seems to have sympathy which tortures him. Todd has lost the man he once was. The state of separation is from his loss of family and social status, but most important, the loss of those positive human emotions that make life tolerable. One of my favorite movies by Tim Burton is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka is the film's fantasy hero, just like how Bruce Wayne is in Batman. Both these characters possess broken personalities. They both have a hard time getting over the trauma that happened to them as children. Burton is known for doing flashbacks in his movies. For example, in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he thought it would be very important to include the bad memories of Wonka's childhood when he wore those horrible braces and had a terrible relationship with his dentist of a father. These flashbacks depicted what it was like to grow up in an unsympathetic world. Tim Burton is known for having very unusual looking characters. His characters are either super tall and skinny or really short and round with pale skin and dark circles under their eyes. He also likes to use a lot of bright makeup, and he likes his characters wearing funky looking clothes that are mismatched, such as Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland. Tim Burton definitely has a certain style in his movies that might be a little bit quirky, but he takes his audience to a different world that excites the human eye.